let's talk about something that's on pretty much everyone's mind these days, longevity. I mean, who doesn't want to live a long, healthy life, right? But here's the thing. Has this constant pursuit of a longer life actually started to make our lives, right now, a little bit worse? We're going to dive into that today.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. What used to be a really simple, common-sense desire for good health has been totally hijacked. It's been turned into this competitive, super expensive, and honestly, really stressful performance. It's become a luxury for the few who can afford it all and a real burden for the rest of us.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to expose what we're calling the longevity trap. Then, we'll talk about redefining what the real goal should be. After that, we'll get into the 6 simple foundations that actually matter. We'll even touch on what comes after the basics, and we'll wrap it all up by helping you create your own set of rules for a longer and, hey, less stressful life.
Okay, let's start with the problem itself. The wellness industry has spun this incredible story, right? That you can and that you should be biohacking your way to living to 150. But this whole mindset creates a really dangerous trap.
Just look at the contrast on this slide. It's pretty stark. On one side, you have the fantasy being sold to us, living to 150 by taking 100+ supplements a day, kind of like that tech guy, Brian Johnson. But then you look at the other side, and that's the reality for most people. It's stress over every little thing you eat, a financial strain from all the expensive stuff, and this constant nagging feeling that you're just not doing enough.
And oh boy, social media just pours gasoline on this whole fire. It's not just about feeling good anymore. It feels like you have to prove you're healthy. People are posting their VO2 max scores, their biological age test results. It's created this culture of health bragging, and it just makes everyone else feel like they're totally failing.
So if that's the trap we're all in, how do we get out? Well, the key is to completely change the goal. It's not about adding more years to your life, it's about adding more life to your years.
Now this definition from the doctor in our source material is a total game changer. See, the goal isn't some random number like 120 or 150. The real goal is to live the happiest and healthiest life you possibly can, right now, today, within the reality of your own life. That means your budget, your schedule, your own personal limits.
And this is the mental flip we all need to make. A long life shouldn't be the target you're obsessively chasing. That's what causes all the stress. Instead, think of a long life as the natural byproduct, the awesome side effect of a life that's already happy and healthy. Focus on the quality, and the quantity will likely take care of itself.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what do you actually do? Where do you even start? Well, the good news is it's way, way simpler than you think. It really all comes down to 6 core foundations.
That's it. Just 6. Not 100 different supplements, not some crazy expensive gadget you have to buy. Just 6 fundamental pillars that pretty much anyone can focus on no matter what their situation is.
And here they are. These are the big ones, the things that give you the most bang for your buck. First, consistent exercise, and we'll talk about what that means. Second, getting quality sleep. That's totally non-negotiable. Third, balanced nutrition, which is all about whole foods without being obsessive. Fourth, healthy social connections. Seriously, loneliness can be as bad for you as smoking. Fifth, getting out in nature. And finally, number 6, avoiding the obvious toxins like smoking. If you can get a handle on these, you've already won most of the battle.
So let's just zoom in on exercise for a second. Consistent does not mean you have to become a gym rat. It just means a mix of stuff, including things you do every day, like carrying groceries. And what if you have no time? The source talks about something called the VILPA method. It's basically 1 minute of intense activity, like running up the stairs or doing quick squats, just 3 times a day. Come on, anyone can find 3 minutes.
This really gets to the heart of it all. Your path to health should be making you feel better, not more stressed. If your diet is so rigid that it's making you miserable, you're on the wrong path. The doctor in our source is really clear about this. Having some ultra-processed food or a bubble tea every now and then is fine. It is about consistency over a long time, not about being perfect every single day.
So what happens once you've got those 6 foundations locked down? What about all that other stuff you hear about, the supplements, the wearables, all the biohacks? Well, we can think of that as the advanced tier. It's like the tiny little cherry on top of the health pyramid, and you should only think about it after you've built a really solid base.
This is probably the #1 question people ask when they start thinking about longevity. Okay, so what supplements should I be taking? But according to our source, that is the absolute wrong question to start with.
The medical advice here is really simple.
Don't guess, test. Go get some blood work done and see if you're actually lacking anything. Most of those trendy supplements you see all over the internet, the evidence for them is pretty weak, especially in big human studies. So the key is to flip the question. It's not what should I take, it's what does my body actually need? And that's a question you only ask after you've mastered the 6 foundations. All right, let's talk about the gadgets on our wrists. Smartwatches, fitness trackers, they promise us all this data about our health. But can looking at that data all the time actually do more harm than good?
Yeah, these wearables are a classic double-edged sword. On one side, they can be amazing for motivation. Seeing your sleep scores slowly improve over a few weeks can be super encouraging. But the other side is that the numbers aren't perfect, and obsessing over one bad night of sleep or a low score can create a ton of anxiety that you just didn't need.
So here's the key takeaway for using these things. Focus on the trend over time, not the single number you see today. If you start working out and your VO2 max score slowly trends upwards over 6 months, that's awesome, that's real, but don't freak out if the number itself is 25 or 40. The direction you're heading is what really matters.
And that brings us to our final, and I think most important section. We've torn down the hype, we've laid out the simple fundamentals, and now it's time to bring all the focus back to the only person who actually matters in this journey, you.
Let's just land on this for a second because it's probably the most important rule of all. Real health should give you energy. It should reduce your anxiety, not create more of it. If your routine is making you feel guilty or stressed out, it's not working. That's a huge sign that you're in that performance trap and it's time to take a step back. So here's a quick checklist for you, a little gut check. Are you asking about supplements before you've even fixed your sleep? Are the numbers on your smartwatch stressing you out? Do you feel pressure from what you see online? Is this whole health thing just making you miserable? If you're nodding along, you're probably in the trap. And that's okay. It's just a signal to stop, breathe, and get back to those 6 simple foundations.
So we're going to end with this question for you to think about. This is the real definition of longevity. It's not about copying some billionaire's extreme routine. It's a personal challenge. How can you build the happiest, healthiest life possible for yourself with the time, money, and energy that you actually have? Now that is a goal worth pursuing.